Well, it's time now to welcome a man who's been a trailblazer with the Vegas Golden Knights. He started as a part-timer, eventually doing 41 regular season games to playoffs and getting himself a championship ring when the Golden Knights won the Stanley Cup, which likely seemed like the pinnacle of doing play-by-play for a franchise. But then comes an opportunity to call a game with his son, a national game in New York for the NHL, not just the franchise. And on top of that, it's not just a regular old game. It's the NHL Hockeyverse game done by VGK, the lead Spanish broadcaster, Jesus Lopez, and his son, Jorge Isaac Lopez. Welcome, gentlemen.
How you doing, Brian?
I'm doing well. How you guys doing?
I'm good. That was a great opening bite. Right on.
There we go. It's almost like I'm looking at twins here.
Yeah, of course.
Oh, don't tell him that. Don't tell him that.
Who's the father? Who's the son?
Come on,
really.
Brian.
First things first. I mean, you guys had an opportunity to do an animated game for the NHL. We're going age before beauty here.
1,000%.
Age before beauty here.
1,000%.
So how was that? Like getting an opportunity to do first a nationally televised game, secondly, flown out to New York, and then on top of all that, doing like the animated game for the NHL.
Well, first of all, the technology, that they use to produce all these games, it's overwhelming. It's an amazing way to work, They have over 60 people used for this project working together to put everything, together. And it was a great experience. But having that, like the goggles all the time, and I was very worried about being able to watch the name of the players and the numbers. But then you have inside, different screens with names and stats and everything. It's just amazing how they made it very easy for us, and well, the fact that I was doing this with Jorge, what can I say? It doesn't get any better than that.
That's crazy. So your pop is obviously doing great work. You've seen him, doing the play-by-play for the VGK. You're in college at UNLV. Then you get an opportunity to actually call a game with him. First time you did that, it wasn't the nationally televised game, but you having an opportunity to actually do play-by-play for the NHL's Stanley Cup champion team here in Las Vegas. You're just out of school. And you're with your pop on top of all that. Like, how was that experience just in general before we even talk about going to New York?
I would say definitely how you have just said the Golden Knights are the leading franchise in a lot of things. And one of those things being the Latino and the Hispanic community outreach. So brands like Lowe's VGK has really just kind of catapulted a lot of young broadcasters' careers. So I think just the initiative that this franchise shows and how you were talking about it, like a lot of youth and a lot of just growing the sport and keeping this movement forward. I think they're really paving the path for future broadcasters to want to do things that perhaps they couldn't imagine themselves doing before.
Yeah.
So it truly has been a little bit less than a year, but it has been a year full of experiences. And I couldn't be anything short of grateful. And then you're throwing this on top, Brian. I mean,
like, man.
I was thinking, obviously, like I do understand me being young. There is a lot of doubt, which is not very much things that you could do about doubt.
Yeah.
But you certainly could do things about pressure. And I think the way that one handles pressure definitely will go a long way in the things that one is able to experience as a broadcaster. And I mean, firsthand, just sitting here with you has been a great pleasure. So.
Man, you're making me feel good. Well, I mean, pressure either bursts pipes or makes diamonds, right?
1,000, exactly that. That's exactly what I was going at.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that you picked that up.
There you go. That's my one bar for the day. So, Jesus, as a father, a proud father, you see your son graduate from UNLV, right? He comes on and he's interning with the Vegas Golden Knights, and then he has an opportunity to work with you with the Vegas Golden Knights. Then he has an opportunity to go to New York and work with you. Like, as a father, like how does that make you feel? Like, how proud of you? You can say that in front of everybody. Like, are you of your son and just what he's accomplished? And he just turned 25 years old. He's so young and still has done so much already.
Well,
I must say I don't mean to cut him off. I'm sorry. So this happens a lot during our broadcast, right? But when
young guys always cut.
When all of our games happened, I was actually 24 at the time, so 25 since last night.
Yeah.
But go ahead.
Gotcha. 25 now.
Thank you, Brian. Thank
you. Honestly, I was choked, at the beginning of the broadcast in New York because having my son, next to me doing this has a very special meaning, And all you can think about is to thank, I thank my father and my mom, wherever they are, because this is the kind of responsibility that they taught me. So you never stop being a father.
Yeah.
But there's a 50-50, Sometimes fathers can, they have the willing to provide, but there's also the 50 from the son, that is willing to cooperate, and develop whatever you can put on the table for them. So that's what I thought from my parents, and yeah, at the beginning I was, choking. At the end of the broadcasting, I'm not gonna lie, I cry a little bit. It was very emotional for me, and just thanking God for everything, for having the opportunity to share this with Jorge. It's been nothing but an amazing blessed.
Man, on a national stage, a national stage. And I'll ask you this with Pop sitting right here, like you've seen him do his play-by-play for the VGK. Like he started the Spanish broadcast for the VGK. You see him get a ring. You see him be honored by the NHL coming out and saying, you know what, we want you to do, your father to do like this national broadcast. How proud are you to man, that's my dad. Like my papa's doing, like he's really doing the dang thing.
I think that's it's a great feeling. Before a broadcaster, obviously. So, and again, I refer a lot of the things to my internship with Los VGK, right? So one of the things that they do very well is partnering with communities, with Hispanic communities and Latino communities for the growth of the sport. But sometimes we'll also have the growth of the sport beyond the ice sheet. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So we'll have all behind the scenes. We'll have all the people that make up the great franchise. And within that, we'll have Jesus out there sometimes.
Yeah.
And I think one of the parts that makes me the proudest is watching the kids wanting to take on the professions like that nowadays, because it's really not an easy job at all.
Yes, I'm familiar.
Not, I can imagine. It is really not an easy job, and just watching that and getting to be one of those kids firsthand, and going to school, going through the whole process, and actually being one of the first young Latino broadcasters to go through that process. And again, it's not just kind of like a father and son things involved. I would say there is a lot of pieces and a lot of people that are involved in this great process. Through that, the Nevada Broadcasters Association, which through them I was able to go to UNLV, and they put me through school. Yes, so it was a whole broadcasting process, and then through that, in addition, Alejandro Romo, who is he is a main color guy for Los VGK. I mean, not for Los VGK, for Vegas Golden Knights, for Jesus in Spanish. So with his trust and him giving me that opportunity, I was able to flourish what I had been working throughout those years. So I think there are many sides of viewing this thing that has now presented itself in front of us. But I would say the one that I'm most proud of, it's just wanting to see kids still be like him, and me myself being one of those kids.
Yes.
So
I was just gonna ask that, like, what's it like to see like a kid talk to your pop like he's like a star?
Sometimes I get jealous, right? Sometimes, so it's kind of like the perfect example, because like sometimes I get jealous because obviously that's a kid, but then sometimes I get jealous because I want the kid to talk to me instead.
Oh, jealous and nervous. Like, your time is coming, young sir. Your time is coming. Yeah. That's funny. That's funny. So when you talk about doing the play-by-play for the VGK, like I know your background is boxing, right? So.
And soccer, yeah.
And soccer. And you bring that type of flair to the VGK. When you first got into it, I don't know, what kind of example did you use? Like, what did you kind of think of, like, hey, how am I going to do this? And
I was looking for references about hockey in Spanish, and all I could find was this 1956 goofy cartoon translated to Spanish. It was called Hockey Homicide. And it was a Colombian guy who used to do soccer play-by-play who did the translation. And that was the pace. So I started, I started recording demos with that kind of pace, because I said that is, you cover all sports, Brian, and every sport has its own soul, right?
Absolutely.
But nothing like hockey.
It's different.
You need a very different pace. And then, at the end, Tony Bonici, he requested me, he suggested me.
Yeah.
Why don't you do your soccer stuff? Call the goals, soccer style, and record something, like that.
Yeah.
And see how it sounds. So I did it. I went into the edit bay and I recorded it and I listened to it, and he said, "This is it. This is the one that I'm sending to the Vegas Golden Knights." So he sent it, and they gave me the chance. But they asked me several times, this is the NHL, Jesus. Do you realize that? And I was like, yeah. They asked me like 3 or 4 times, this is the NHL. We cannot mess this up, you know?
Yeah.
So, but it's been great because you have Dan Duba, Dave Goucher, you know, those guys are amazing.
They're pros.
And,
they're very,
they're
very
always
good.
like, what do you need, Jesus? You know, what do you need? And that helps a lot. I mean, it's just a very nice team.
Yeah, and this is a chance for you to kind of toot the horn of the franchises you work for, but we talked about this off camera, the fact that the Golden Knights, they have you doing 41 games. I said that's 41 games in a regular season.
Yeah.
And you alluded to off camera the fact that like markets like Los Angeles and just up Dallas, whatever, their Spanish broadcasters don't do as many games as you do.
Now they're starting, you know, now Dallas is starting to do a Spanish broadcast. Tampa Bay, the Panthers, Chicago. So they're getting activated on
But they're
this.
following your lead.
Well,
or the Vegas Golden Knights lead.
It is you know, peculiar because I was listening to this broadcast from Dallas, you know, the Noche Mexicana a couple of days ago. And the guy who was doing the play-by-play was calling the goals exactly.
He sounded like you.
So yeah, it's. I believe when there's nothing ahead of you, well, then you're doing the blueprint of it, right? And but in fair honesty, it's delivering the game for the Hispanics has to be entertained. And also it's very different. It's like listening to soccer from England and to soccer from Mexico.
That's a good way to put it.
It's completely different.
Yeah.
So the feeling, the emotion. When they asked me, you know, once, why do you call the goals that way? You know, I go, well, because there's so much emotion. If I don't let it out like that, I mean, I feel like I have it here in my throat.
Yeah, you don't want your head to explode.
So, yeah, and also the emotion, I mean, demands it.
Yeah.
It's just like you cannot hide, you know, that much of emotion. And that's what Latino people like, you know, that kind of passion. You should hear Argentinian broadcasters in radio, man. I mean, they go crazy. So that's what it is.
You can add to that. What?
This is fun to hear in the car ride home, Brian.
Oh.
This is fun to hear after a broadcast. That's where the pressure begins, right? It's right there. So obviously with his goal calls, it's just really hard to up that, and you just try to stay as close to that as you can.
I was just going to say that. Like, how did you find your voice? Because I mean, I was a young broadcaster, just like he was a young broadcaster. You know what I mean? That's one of the biggest things that you have to find as a person on air and broadcasting is your voice. Like how you're going to talk, what kind of pace, and like at such a young age, how did you find that voice?
I would say I am still finding my voice every day that goes by, and I would believe that with the growth of my career, it'll continue to change. But one thing that doesn't change is the numbers, right? So obviously, I love doing color commentary because it's a lot of factual information. Which again, with working with the VGK, I've had a great experience working alongside guys like Dan Duva and Gary Lawless, translating a bunch of factual information about the Golden Knights from from some of the best NHL's analysts. So that has truly helped me acquire a great amount of experience in such a short amount of time. Mm-hmm. So in difference to him, he is obviously the play-by-play narrator. He is all the fun and he is all the flair that Latino and Hispanics love, right? And me, I like to counterpart that instead of adding to it. I like to, so there is why that was so important. So there are these stats on this player, why this player is important to the franchise.
Absolutely.
And I believe that comes within having attended again UNLV's School of Broadcasting. So it's a little bit different, right? So it's different schools of broadcasting what Jesus carries. It's just raw talent, raw emotion. And sometimes when all goes wrong, I like to have factual information that I can provide. 1,000%. And if all that goes wrong as well, the very last call is to just give it all you have, right? Just give all the energy that you have and try to replicate Jesus's goal as close as you can.
I got you. So let me ask you this. How many times have you watched the animated play-by-play that you got a chance to do?
Well, it's funny. I wonder what the people in the New York airport were wondering because we were watching it simultaneously on like 3 separate screens. So we were watching it at three different speeds. We were kind of watching every angle. We were watching the interviews. We were watching the intermissions, and must have been, at least for me, about personally 10 times.
Of course, because you critique, and like, wow, that was like a wow moment, like a pinch yourself moment, like, I can't believe I did that moment, I would assume.
1,000%. 1,000. I don't know how many times for Jesus, but I know it was definitely a fun watch.
Yeah, how about you? Have you gone back and just kind of looked at it, like, kind of remember the experience, or just have you went back to watch it at all?
I saw the whole game, but then, it's just pumping up that Avalanche is reposting it, Dallas is reposting it, a lot of, fans are reposting it, and it's nice when you see that there are, 70, 90 thousands of views in every shot, so that's it. I think it's, for me, it's a good way to repay, what the Vegas Golden Knights mean for me, right? I mean, that it's a job well done. And the fact that I did it with Jorge, is priceless, So that's the way to repay, what they've done and how they have been with the Hispanic community, because they go beyond, the way we celebrate Dia de los Muertos and the Hispanic heritage and all of that. I think, Brian, inclusion is everything nowadays. And the other thing is that the Vegas Golden Knights gave us a sense of identity, our identity.
Your heritage.
Because the very first season, we went all the way to Stanley Cup final.
Yeah.
The very first season. So it became more like a shield that protects our city more than a logo, it means a lot more. So every time that I open the mic, and I just thank God for the opportunity and let it go, and enjoy it.
Man, I can't say any better than that. I don't want to step on those bars. It's more of a shield. It's not a logo. I like that. Oof.
I told that to the guys in Edmonton. I mean, this guy was interviewing me for a FM radio station, and the guy was kind of, Edmonton.
Yeah.
And then he says, are the Spanish community, the Latino community familiar with that logo? And I go, what logo? Yeah, the one that you have with your jacket. I told him, this is not a logo. What is it? This is the shield that protects our city.
I would
and
say,
the guy was like, let me write that down.
That's a bar.
So that's how I see it.
That's a bar.
I would say definitely, Brian, you touched on a really good point, and that is that everything that we have in front of us today is because of a blind initiative that the Vegas Golden Knights took on November the 2nd with the Lowe's VGK night.
Yeah.
Absolutely just pushing the Latino and Hispanic community, and within that it has been such a short period of time that it truly has been an amazing learning experience. Great hockey people like Sherry Hudspeth, who I do most of our community events with. I mean, it's just great all around. And as far as the broadcast goes, I did really have a newfound appreciation for live TV, and
something.
I just think absolutely right. And I think anywhere that you look in the VGK franchise, you're going to find talent. Within that, one of the people that I have very quickly learned a lot about in terms of pressure and professionalism would be Ash Valley Vice, which is one of VGK's best sideline reporters.
Ashley's a fantastic job.
So that's a definition of one shot, right?
Yeah.
And we were able to get a little taste of that this weekend, and I think we were able to deliver a fun program for our community, and hopefully one of many.
Yeah. Well, just think about this. The LATAM Cup is going on right now in
Henderson.
That
is right. So
Argentina, Colombia, Puerto Rico, and Mexico, they're playing the tournament. It started today.
That is right.
That's right.
And that's how far it's gone.
I was just gonna say, like, how far that's come.
I mean, look at that.
We have
a tournament in Las Vegas with Colombia, Argentina, Puerto Rico, and Mexico.
It sounds so good when you say it.
and the level of hockey is incredible. The level of hockey is incredible. So we absolutely, I do agree with the rest of the franchises in the NHL who have now shown that interest into the Latino market, which is a completely untapped market. There is vast reason for it. Now that we have these teams, we see like the type of hockey that is being played, right? So we see the level of hockey that is. So there is definitely hockey outside of the U.S. And now that everybody's kind of getting a taste of it, we just can't get enough.
So at some point, we're going to see like a Latino player playing in the NHL.
What do you mean?
That is one of our goals.
The best player in the NHL is half Mexican.
Who's that?
Austin Matthews. His mom is from Mexico.
The best. I didn't know who the best player was first. I thought you were going to say that Connor
McDavid.
Yeah, McDavid.
Yeah, 1,000%.
No,
so we have Austin Matthews. We also have
Max Pacioretty.
and then we have Matt Nieto.
Max Pacioretty's mom is from Mexico City. He's from Mexican.
Oh, I did not know that.
Matt Nieto, Al Montoya, Tavares. Yeah, we have quite a few right now.
Okay. See, I'm glad that you thank you for that. That's why you're here. That's why you're here.
No, absolutely. So I definitely think, again, with initiatives and all that matters. So we want to invite you out if you'd like to make it out there, right? So it's going on from the 19th through the 22nd. It's going to be a Miracle / Los VGK. It's going to be the LATAM Spring Classic.
You're going to be out there making it happen.
It is going great. Yes, it's going great.
I want to be there.
Very exciting. Very good level of hockey, so definitely recommend it.
After we went to Metepec in Mexico, they brought the kids from Mexico to play against, the kids from the Vegas Golden Knights school.
We'll just say it was very, very challenging hockey out there, and it was a very fun time for all parents, both sides involved.
Okay.
And the place was packed.
Really?
All the categories.
A lot to
were
talk about.
packed, yeah.
And that's when you guys went from Las Vegas, went down to Mexico,
Mexico
took
City.
the Golden Knights down there, and okay.
And that same team that hosted us down in Mexico, it was the exact same team that we brought up here.
All right, so yeah, they have you guys down there. It's only right for you to bring them back to your home.
We can only do so.
There we go. It's like me bringing you guys to the studio.
Exactly that.
It's full circle, baby. It's full circle, baby. All right, so we got to get out of here. So, Jesus Lopez, Jorge Lopez, father and son combination, doing nationally broadcast games, also doing a Vegas Golden Knight game as well. How many or so you think you've done with your pop here with just the VGK?
Right over 10.
10 games.
I would say right around the 10
25
mark.
years old. We got to get this guy out of here. I appreciate you guys coming in. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Brian. Thank you. It's been a pleasure.
Very much.
Really appreciate you.
Thank you. Thanks.